Hello, ladies and gentlemen. This is Michael Butts of Bedroom Studios coming at you with the first episode to the Bedroom Studios official podcast with Robert Campbell as the starting guest. Now, sadly, we recorded this in downtown Dartmouth with just my interface and two mics set up in the DAW, and as I was checking, my file had a parsing error, no backup file on it. Luckily, Robert had some lapel mics, and we had lapel mics on when we were talking into the mics as we were recording. So luckily, there was something to be salvaged on this first episode. Sadly, the first minute with my long introduction on him did not make it into the cut. So what I said was singer, songwriter, multi-talented, behind the scenes and in the scenes individual, Mr. Robert Campbell. Now, with that being said, enjoy the rest of the podcast. Based on what categories that I selected for the podcast.
Right.
So there's a lot of people that have agreed to do this all in just a quick, copy pasta. Hey, you want to do this? And these are the categories.
Right.
So, singer-songwriters, home recording, mixing, mastering, people that have, or people that are clients of Bedroom Studios and stuff like that. So, and I know, obviously, you are a singer-songwriter. You have a plethora of works that you whip out for live performances or even open mics. And you are also a little bit of recording on the side as well. Is that right?
A little bit, yeah. Yeah, I do some piano tracks here and there. I record at home. Okay. I have just a simple setup.
All right, and so you'd use something big and like this, or do you use like a mixer console?
No, I use a Steinberg UR42, which is four inputs.
Okay.
And a couple extras on the sides, but and it goes into Logic. I use a Mac, and I use Logic, and I don't do anything fancy. Mostly I just record the tracks when I'm playing piano or organ, whatever I might be putting down. I record the tracks and take a WAV file to send to someone.
Okay.
Along with a MIDI file of it, so that they can do whatever they want with it.
Good.
I send it, and I'll send a few different styles or a few different sounds of pianos or keyboard, whatever I'm doing. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I like that. Before I started doing the mixing on my own, I had my mentor, who's now in just south of Houston, Texas, with his wife. He would always say, "Send me MIDI files on top of your WAV files," right? Just in case it was for he wanted to layer, or he just so happened didn't like the WAV file, and he could do something with his own VSTs and stuff like that. It's a very crucial thing, spoon feed. Everything. You can never go wrong with spoon feeding.
Yeah, you can. If you provide too much, they can always throw it away. If the track's too busy, then that's too much. But if it's okay, and you can have that MIDI file or different flavors of sounds, then it'll help them.
Of course.
Yeah.
And so, being such a seasoned veteran. So you've been playing for multiple decades, and how many decades has it been?
It's I've been playing since I was 7.
Since you were 7.
I started taking piano lessons, and then I played pipe organ for a number of years, and went to jazz college and did all that. So yeah.
Was this organ playing? Was this church association or?
Yeah, it was the Western Board, and I took grade 8 Western Board pipe organ, which is similar to the Toronto Conservatory. I don't think the Western Board is around anymore. It was a little harder than the Toronto Conservatory, but I never got my teacher certificate or anything, but I played in pipe organs, like the 3-rank or 3 keyboards type organs.
Oh, okay.
And chimes and the pedals, 2.5 octaves of pedals and all that. And so I did that when I was a teenager, really, and then after high school I went to college. Yeah.
And was that because you're not from here? You're from the other side of the country, right?
Edmonton, Alberta was my hometown.
And you went to college in that home province,
Yeah,
or?
I went to Grant MacEwan College, and now it's a university.
Okay.
Back then, it was only designated as a college, but some great musicians there, and yeah, it's a very good university actually for music.
I know there's a lot of great colleges all over the province for music as well. There's one that I recently caught wind of. It was Humber.
Humber is great, yeah, in
Humber in
Ontario.
Toronto. I have is it Ontario or is it Toronto?
Well, it's
Like smack dab Toronto, or?
No, I think it's west of Toronto, just a little bit.
Okay.
Yeah, but
I have a few friends that I forget what college she goes to or university she goes to, but my other friend, he's in Humber College for jazz drumming, and they actually both of them came down to Nova Scotia just for, I think, a few days in February, and they said they wanted to go to a jazz night.
Right.
And I said, well, I think the Propeller on Quinpool has a jazz night.
Right.
So what do?
I have no idea.
These people in their 20s, being as talented as people in their 40 pluses, they're going. It was like watching robots. Like, that's not like, tight stiffness, but robots as in like, this was like drinking water to them. It was that simple. And I use the moniker for my solo stuff, the jazz enthusiast. And when I say that, I just do little. I don't play jazz, always I enthuse it, right? I'm enthusiastic about it. I like when there's jazzy relations in songs. I'll implement a jazz chord or 2 or 3 or 5 into a song.
Right.
But these, bass playing and drum playing, I was like, these guys are younger than me.
It's something you can learn, like anything, but it does take wrapping your head around. I don't play jazz per se. I mean, I know all the chords that I'm supposed to play, but because I don't practice at it and I don't play it actively, I'm just a closet jazz guy, right?
That's kind of like me as well with the little bits on piano. I can fluently play 2 songs without having to look at chord sheets, lyrics, and it's Don't Walk Away by the French duo or Montreal duo Chromeo, and Leave Me Alone by Michael Jackson. I've pulled that one out several times at open mics and all that stuff. Impressed a bunch of people at university with it. But Leave Me Alone is as jazzy as I can go based off of memory. And of course, every Jackson song, thanks to Quincy Jones, everything was jazz. Everything. And that's what I love about it. When it comes to something like that, some people get, dogged on because their stuff is like so complex and all that, especially these modern artists. I see a lot of hate for Jacob Collier as of recent. Have you caught up on him?
I know of him,
Yeah, he's got a lot of hate recently.
No, well,
because his stuff is too complex or it's soulless. But obviously it's like, well, can you do it? That's for starters. And 2, if you're constantly thinking about it, it's obviously going to take away from the main thing, which is the whole project or the whole work of the song. So when I always don't think about it when it comes to songwriting or when I'm listening to someone else's song, because when I first started listening to your songs, my favorite album of yours, and we'll talk about albums in a second, but my favorite songs is off, I think, your 2015 album, Love Makes One, and Simple Life. Those, Simple Life feels poppy, but you still feel the influence, and I just love it. And of course, Love Makes One, when we play that live, it's just straight blues, and that's what actually kind of tilted my head into blues.
Right. It's not straight blues.
Oh, I know it's not,
because it's got weird chords in it. It's not one of those. It's not one of those songs you can just jam because it's got kind of weird weird chords in it sometimes, right? And
I'm trying to remember. It's
but
you got the 1, 2, 4, and 5 in there. Not in that order, but that's what I remember.
Yeah, I guess I can't remember either, but it's, you know, it's not a song that I pull out to jam at a blues bar, right? I mean, I'll play it, but not if the players don't have a chart in front of them, kind of thing, right? Because it's just not.
That's the one you play for when there's money involved.
Yeah. But yeah, well, thanks. It's fun. I like writing all styles of music, and I think a lot of flavors get interjected into various tunes.
And that's what I like.
You know, I'm a believer that Jacob Collier does what he does because he is who he is. He is that guy, and he is true to himself, and he will find his audience. That's what I believe. I haven't always been that way. I've always, you know, I've played before where I thought, well, I should play those tunes or those tunes to please people, kind of thing. But I don't necessarily do that anymore, and I haven't done that for maybe for a while. But if you are true to yourself and play the songs that you, if you're a writer especially, play them the way you need to play them and are reasonable at your craft, people will find you, people will listen to you, right?
Yeah.
You'll find your audience.
Yeah. That's another thing. A lot of you will say audience, but nowadays, people that are younger, probably like my age, or people maybe plus or minus 5 years of me, they'll call it a niche. They won't even call it an audience anymore. That's what I hear. They go, oh, find your niche. It's like, well, what happened to audience?
Well,
you know, like
yeah, I guess maybe that's what it is. I mean, you know, you don't perform in a vacuum.
No.
You know.
That's
we can record and play our songs, but you need to have listeners, and your listeners may be that niche that is for you, right? So yeah.
Because I remember, you know, back in the day, all these big bands, the big, you know, rock superstars, or something like, you know, the Beatles or the Stones, or even, you know, Buddy Holly before he passed, or Waylon Jennings. All these people, what you said. They do what you said. They did what they wanted to do, and they sold millions of records. And it wasn't, technically, depending on, you know, elitists or purists, they'll call it a niche. But if you see these people doing sold-out shows, that's not a niche. That's an audience.
Well, it's also about, you know, having decent songs. You know.
That too.
There's you got to have solid songwriting. I hear a lot of songwriters, and it's a craft that takes a long time to get good at. Lots of people are good at it naturally, but I think a lot of people develop it, right, with a lot of work. Yeah.
So when it comes to songwriting, and, you know, with all your album works, trying to put it together, are you more of a scenario writer, or are you more of a story writer?
Probably more scenario, I guess. I hadn't thought of it in those terms. I like to have imagery that people can hang on to and relate to, and to have something that is, shall we say, what do they call it? Sense bound. You can feel, taste, hear, see, you know, visualize. I mean, I've got story songs, I've got made up story songs, and I've got, you know, real life story songs. And I'm probably writing a little bit more like that now, you know. Yeah.
Okay. So, since I'm in, you know, I do solo, and then I have my band, right? I find there's such a divide, even when it comes to writing. Obviously, you know, I don't want to make my band sound like me, or me sound like my band, obviously, so I gotta play different styles. And obviously styles is, even if you're just a solo artist, different styles based on different venues as well. That's also an important thing. But when it comes to writing, I tell the stories, right? I tell about things that happen in my life, and I don't if they're bad, they're not immediate call-outs, and if they're good, right, they again still no immediate call-outs. Sometimes they'll be underlining, sometimes they'll be innuendos, sometimes they'll be metaphors and all that. And then when it comes to the band, where I don't do any writing, I've noticed it's just all scenarios. And then when my singer for the band does his own stuff, it's still story. He goes back to stories as well. And I've noticed that because I worked on a few of his starting songs back when he started, I think in 2021. And I go, he's writing stories.
Right.
And then when we come together as a band, it's like, where are the stories? Honestly, it's smart to be able to do more than one thing. I will always appreciate or pat someone on the back if they're able to do multiple things. Mm-hmm. I've tried doing the scenarios as well. When it comes to scenarios, it just ends up me talking about getting into a relationship or something like that. Like the past 2 songs that I did where there was scenario writing was just about having a partner.
How do you start your songs?
How I start my songs?
Usually, are they phrases or chords or?
It will first start with the song structure itself, the composition, and then I work in twos and fours, so multiples of that. So I'll have say my verse being 8 bars, pre-chorus being 4, chorus being 8. So second verse being half.
A rather structured.
Very structured, yeah. Bridge, pre-chorus, bridge, pre-chorus, bridge, chorus. And then it comes to writing, and it's literally, since storytelling is my most prominent one, it's got to be what I'm feeling that day, how I'm feeling. It's a mood that gets the ignition for the car going, right? It's like, oh, I'm feeling sad. Oh, why am I sad? Oh, because of this. Start writing about it. Mm-hmm. That's how I get my point across. And since I did a genre swap from pop to blues, I found the story writing, and that's when I started the scenario writing as well. But I found the storytelling a lot easier and more comfortable, even though I did write stories when I did pop.
Right.
I just found just swapping to that genre a little easier. And I mean, blues is always about, say what's going on, like why are you happy, why are you sad, societal problems, all that stuff. I'm obviously not going to stick to the blues forever because it can only do so much with 1, 4, 5 and then 12 different keys. When it comes to songwriting in different genres, because you do a bunch of different genres as well. You do mashups of different genres, like we were talking about, Simple Life and Love Makes One. If you were to scenario write, which one, or story write, which genre do you find easier than others, or is it come to the point where it's like it's just easy for me?
I don't think about the genre. Actually,
you don't? Okay.
Not really. No, when I start writing, I don't have anything. I should say rarely. I've just recently thought maybe I should write a blues tune because I haven't done anything actual blues. But I don't actually think about genre. I don't go into a writing session unless someone in the room with me, either virtual or real, says, well, I kind of need a country song or I need a blues song for this album or whatever.
Okay.
I don't think about it. I just, it's just what is in the room, what is percolating up, what does it feel like, what does it sound like, what will serve that intent, and what are we trying to say? What are we trying to say with the song, and where do the lyrics kind of lead it? Where does the moment lead us? So if it has a blues tinge to it, then there it goes, right? Or if some riff that comes out has a country kind of vibe or an Americana, folk kind of thing, well then that's what it is, right? That's where it goes. I don't qualify I need to write a jazz tune. It's just, and when I'm, especially in co-writes, it's just kind of like, where is this song going, or where do you, if you come, do you have a piece of a song? Do you have an idea for where this is going? Okay, great. Let's go down that road. See if it works, and if it doesn't work, maybe it'll go somewhere else, right?
Okay.
Yeah.
Was not the answer I was looking for. That took me off guard. I was like, wow, okay. He's grown. He's a grown individual.
No, when I write by myself, like when I start creating, like I have long virtual documents with many ideas, like hundreds of pages of different stuff.
Oh, jeez.
Whether it's just titles or ideas or free thinking, typing, like just what do they call it? Stream of consciousness writing and stuff. I have in documents, and I might go through those and find something again from yesterday or from 8 years ago that I pull out, and I'll sit down and start playing, and not have any idea what chords or what will work or not. I just let it happen. So that's when I'm by myself, right? And I guess if anything, it leads a little bit blues jazz kind of often, depending on the song. But yeah. So I don't think about genre until later on, and after I've listened, I've got something down. I say, oh, well, I guess that's kind of more of a pop tune, or that's more of a country tune, and
that's fascinating.
That's how it goes. Yeah.
For me, it's never what I'm feeling that day. It's I work in threes, so I'll put out a record. I'll put out one genre, and then I'll do two more, and then they're like once a year, and then after three, it's just like, all right, let's do something else, because someone might get bored if I do a fourth one. Mm-hmm. That's how I do. I just keep it going and going. So after blues, I don't know, I might do country, or I might do I don't know, neo-funk or something like that, Maybe folk, why not? Maybe neo-soul, Yeah. It's all, again, and when it comes to that, that's when what I'm feeling is what dictates the genre to write in for me.
Right.
So if it's like, oh, play this lick, and I'm like, oh, that's cool, that's country-esque, I might write a song in country then. It's like, okay, that's stuck, let's write more country, and then there we go, that's the new genre. That's where the anchors drop. Mm-hmm. And speaking of songwriting, you have your project, Songwriters from Here and Away, is that single owned, is that co-owned, co-hosted?
That's just me.
That's you.
Yeah, I was approached about 2 years ago by Jim Womble was doing a show. He used to work with Wayne Schneer, who has the Wolf's Den, or had, and I think he's starting it up again, maybe.
I hope.
And anyways, Jim was doing some work with another artist on Cove FM, and they were retiring basically, and asked if I would take over the show, and I said sure. So Jim and I did a few episodes. So that was more of an interview thing, and I like doing that. But what I've started doing more is recording concerts, live shows.
I've seen the press and I've seen the media for that stuff, and that's to do something like that. And I when I first heard about Songwriters from Here and Away, this was back when the Zoom sessions were still a thing. It was the weekly, like, hey guys, you gonna join in tonight?
Yeah, and that still happens.
Oh, that still happens.
I still do that. Yeah, I'm going to change that now too. I'm going to do it so that it's 2 Wednesdays a month live.
Okay.
And I'm going to do it hybrid, live and internet. So I'm going to cut back so that it's not every week. on Zoom. People could still dial in on Zoom if they wish. But I'm going to do it at the Pink Piano, where I'm doing a bunch of other shows. So that's where I'm headed with that. Yeah.
Okay. And so the stuff that you're doing now with Songwriters from here and away, you got those live concerts in Sackville at the Pink Piano.
Yep.
So where or how did you approach this specific venue or this specific restaurant there?
Oh, I was looking around Dartmouth. I tried to find something here in Dartmouth where I live, and there was nothing.
Really?
Well, I talked to people, but they just didn't get the drift of what I wanted to do. And so I just kept looking, and then one day my buddy Terry Hume had done the grand opening. He plays piano, and he had played the grand opening there. And I got a call from him. He said, "You should go check it out. It might work for what you want to do." And sure enough, it does. And the owners, Jen and Mike, are very conducive to having a listening room where singer-songwriters can play and we can listen.
Okay.
It's licensed and it's great, and they got good food too. And they like to do other shows too. I've produced other stuff over the years, so I'm going to even do comedy nights. And
nice.
we did the Kitties Bound for Broadway, a musical theater thing that I've been doing with a lady out of Pictou, and she has a play that I did about 10 years ago, and she resurrected it, and I'm playing piano on it. So we've done a few shows of it. One of them was a dinner theater and dinner and a show, right?
Okay.
At the Pink Piano, which is great, and we'll be doing 4 shows at the Fringe at the end of August, September. The
Nice.
Halifax Fringe. Yeah, so I really enjoyed putting on shows, always have. I've done that in previous lives, running festivals and theaters and stuff. And I will be doing more shows at the Pink Piano in Sackville for sure.
And well, I've seen the ones that every time you have one, it just so happens that I am busy.
Yeah.
The one with John Campbell and Ian James, I wanted to go to that, but I was gear tech for Jen Shepherd when she did a bunch of Anne Murray covers, or when she did the tribute to Anne Murray. And then as well on top of that, I was running across the street to Freeman's from the church because someone wanted my ears to mix the room for their gig, so I was running back and forth. And by the time you were done, I was still going between the two of them.
Right.
So, so it was literally just a simple please and thank you method to start this. Just playing at the Pink Piano was like, yeah. I love how that still works nowadays.
Well, and you have to get out and talk to people, and of course for 4 years we haven't been doing much of that because of the plague.
I started caring about the music scene after I graduated university. I started getting out, and we were still into the pandemic, a year into it at that point, when no one knew when it was going to end, all the mandates and all that stuff. And it's, from what I've seen, it just seems like as soon as the mandates were lifted and all that, it's like, oh, things are exceeding back. And then the people who have been in the scene for years before the pandemic are like, oh no, it's still not this way. Do you feel like we have gone back to 100% before the pandemic has hit, or do you see there's still some improvement before everything gets back truly 100%?
I couldn't tell you. I don't. I haven't gone back to 100% for myself.
Oh.
I've changed where I want to go. I mean, my partner, my wife, and I are not touring anymore. And she is retired from that whole touring concept, and which is fine. It took a little bit of adjusting for my brain, but it's good. And so I'm not looking for work. If people call me and want to get me to do something, I'll think about it. But I'm not as eager to get out and just play for the sake of playing. It seems like there's a lot of gigs out there. At least it appears that way from what I've seen on some of the lists and stuff that come out, but I certainly don't know if it's like it was. All I know is that I can go out, and if I go out and make a couple of $100 a night, that's a lot of money for some people, and yet that's what I was making 25 years ago. So it's very challenging. It's a difficult situation. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
I like to do. I like to do concert style stuff. I go out and do pubs, and tomorrow night I'm playing a pub down on Spring Garden Road, and
Nice.
and I'll enjoy it. But I will do what I feel like playing. I'm not going to do something that I don't want to play.
That's like me as well.
And so that makes me happier. So it doesn't matter so much where I play. I don't have to kowtow to, requests or whatever.
There's
Not that I
another thing
wouldn't.
I'd like to mention about the from Songwriters here in a way, because it's just this big project and you're doing so much work. What you've been posting and promoting recently is your retreat with
The workshop.
The workshop retreat with those 4 talented singer-songwriters.
Yeah.
So we'll end it on here with this. How did you come up with something like that? Was it just because no one's doing this and I want to do it?
No, because doing the Tuesday night things, there's quite a number of people that come out, not every week, but there's about 20 people, maybe 30, that have been in and out of there quite consistently. And last year we did a similar hangout at Jim's place out in Lake Echo, and one of the members, and Jim Reed, hosted at his house. We had a few days of it,
Nice.
writing and hanging out, co-writing, and then this one that I'm doing with Dave Carroll, Tara Spencer, Asif Ilias, and Susan Crow is fashioned after the Road to Stand Fest, which happened every year in Sherbrooke Village the week before Stand Fest. And it was number of mentors, 4 in this case, and they break up into groups after, we meet in the morning, and then each mentor takes a group of people with them for the morning, and then the same thing happens in the afternoon. And it's a nice model, it's a nice way it works, and everybody gets to listen to each mentor and kind of be in the same room with just a few people. So it's a very creative way to go, I liked it when I went there. So Jim and I decided, well, let's do it so that we can get more people in. So we've...
You know who else is doing that as well? Not as big scale as you're doing, but singer-songwriters... Tyler and Cam.
Yeah.
They're doing that. They do that once a month.
Yep, doing a thing at the Nest on Sundays once a month, yeah.
I went to the first one, and then I was too busy to go to the one that just happened. But the premise is they throw you in one of the many rooms with someone, and they go against strengths and weaknesses.
Right.
And so what you're weak in, the other person's strong in, and vice versa.
Right.
1 hour to write a song. I don't know if you have your limitations like that, but it's 1 hour to write a song. Then we all hightail it to the loose cannon, and then we play him the one you just wrote in front of everybody, and then you play one that you were writing on your own in front of everybody after you do the rotation and all that.
Oh, that's neat.
And so when it comes to this, everyone's going to be broken down with these mentors that you've picked, and everyone gets to perform their song.
So at night there will be song circles, so that everybody will play a song at night.
Okay.
Right?
And then obviously feedback is there.
Well, yeah, I'm not going to worry about it during the song circle so much, but yeah, people can feedback. And if each mentor will run their separate sessions as they see fit. If they want to write songs with people, or if they just want to critique songs that people have been working on, or if they just want to go through other projects.
All right, well, I love that premise. This is why I said, a big person, a big in the community, behind the scenes and in the scenes. So, you talked about playing, you've talked about your recording, you talked about your organization that you have started by taking over and all that. And it does show. right? Like everyone sees everything on social media. If you post
Right.
on Instagram, you post on Facebook and all that, don't think it doesn't go unnoticed. Everyone is going to see it.
Yeah.
Just sadly, there's no view counters like YouTube. That's the only thing.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
when I saw your advertisement for the songwriter workshop, I was
Right.
like, yeah, no, I got to share this. And this guy's doing so much work, right? You know,
Oh, it's a lot of work. I'm certainly, it's a non-profit. I'm not. You don't
Oh,
make
yeah.
money doing this.
Oh yeah, no, nonprofits are, you know,
Yeah.
there's a few bar gigs that I played at that are nonprofit and all that stuff, you know, you know, but you know, it shows the amount of attention and the amount of care that you have for that community, which is
Well.
what I have seen with my eyes, and you know, you shouldn't say it, but you know,
I like the,
it's not there as much as it should be, you know, the support for
well,
everybody.
everybody has to do what they have to do, and music is a great joiner of humans, and
I like that.
It's important to be in the community and have community, and I like music and I like songwriting, and I think there's a lot of good stuff to do with it, so I just do what I do.
That's the answer that everyone should be saying. That's that is a from the heart answer. I really like that. Well, we're gonna have to wrap
Okay.
this up.
We'll wrap.
Yeah,
We can do more later.
Probably songs or something. I don't know. But it was great chatting with you.
Yeah, thanks, Michael.
Getting all these nice answers out of you, getting these different answers that I wasn't going to expect. You know, I thought, you know, the seasoned veteran, he's going to have everything set in stone. But, you know, you're just like a go with the flow type of person. And
Pretty much.
And it hits right bullseye every time. Thank you very much, Robert.
Thanks, buddy.
For being on this first episode
Yeah.
of the podcast.
No worries.
Thank you very much.
All the best.
And
May it go well.
this is Michael, and this is also Robert joining me, signing off. See you next time.
Thanks. Goodbye.